All right, get ready to dive deep. Today we're tackling Paycom Software, Inc.
Paycom, yeah.
They're a big player in the world of cloud-based human capital management,
Huge.
but we're going way deeper than just the headlines, right? We're going to figure out how this company operates.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we're using their own financial reports, their 10K for 2024, and their 10Q filings from this year.
Their own words.
So we've got the 10K for 2024 and the 10Q for the first 3 quarters.
First 3 quarters of 2024.
Okay, so that's what we're working with.
Yep.
We're going to uncover how they bring in the money, what their big expenses are,
Mm-hmm.
and what they offer that keeps clients coming back.
The secret sauce.
Plus, how they stand out in a market that's absolutely jam-packed with competition.
It's a crowded space.
It is.
Yeah.
So to start, let's get down to basics.
Yeah.
How does Paycom actually make money?
Okay, so their model revolves around recurring revenue.
Recurring revenue.
Think of it like a subscription service. Clients pay a fixed fee each billing period, and then there are extra charges based on things like the number of employees or transactions.
I see.
Now, here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Paycom, unlike many software companies, they don't lock clients into long-term contracts.
Oh, that's pretty unusual, right?
Yeah, you see a lot of software companies wanting to secure those long-term commitments,
Yeah.
but Paycom,
Mm-hmm.
they're confident. They believe in their product, and they're betting that businesses will stick around because they see the value.
Not because they're trapped in a contract.
Exactly.
So it's all about providing a product that clients genuinely want and rely on.
That's the key. Yeah.
No need for those sneaky contract tactics.
Right.
So how do they actually make sure that happens?
Well, a big part of it is their focus on creating a really smooth user experience.
User experience, okay.
Their entire software solution is built on a single database,
Single database.
which makes things so much simpler for their clients.
Streamlined.
No need to deal with messy integrations with multiple systems.
Yeah, integrations can be a real pain.
A nightmare, honestly,
Yeah.
to implement and maintain Paycom's approach, this single database. It really simplifies things,
Yeah.
and it helps guarantee data integrity, which is another big selling point.
Makes sense.
And to make sure they reach a wide audience, they're very strategic about their client base.
Oh, so?
They work with businesses of all sizes and across different industries.
So they're diversifying, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Diversification is crucial, yeah, for managing risk and keeping that revenue growing steadily.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the general model, recurring revenue, no long-term contracts, and a big focus on being user-friendly and maintaining data integrity.
Mm-hmm.
But let's break down their revenue streams a little further, shall we?
Sure.
Where does the majority of their income come from specifically?
So their main source of revenue, the bread and butter, is from those subscription fees for their core HCM suite.
The core HCM suite.
Okay. This covers all the essential HR stuff. Payroll, benefits administration, talent management, time and attendance tracking, the whole shebang.
It's that comprehensive all-in-one solution.
Precisely.
Okay.
Then they have a second stream, what they call implementation and other revenue.
Implementation and other, okay.
This includes upfront fees for new clients during the initial setup and conversion process.
Got it.
They also get revenue from selling physical time clocks, believe it or not.
Interesting. So it's not just software. There's some hardware in the mix, too.
There is, yeah.
Interesting.
And this is where it gets kind of interesting.
Okay.
They have another revenue piece. Interest income.
Interest income. Now, how does that fit into a software company's business?
Right. You wouldn't think so. But
Yeah.
Paycom holds funds for their clients primarily for payroll,
Payroll. Okay.
and they manage those funds. And you know what that means?
They earn interest on them.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that interest income actually makes up a decent chunk of their total revenue.
That's pretty smart.
It's a clever way to use those existing client relationships to make more money without having to create completely new products or services.
Yeah, especially with interest rates going up.
Right.
Stream's probably looking pretty good.
Definitely a nice little bonus.
All right, so we've covered the money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
but every business has costs, right?
Of course.
What are those big expenses for Paycom? The things that really eat into their profits?
Well, like any tech company that's growing, personnel is a major expense.
Personnel. Okay.
They've got a big workforce, people in all sorts of departments.
Software development, engineering, sales, marketing, customer support.
All of that, yeah.
It takes a lot to keep a company like this running smoothly.
Especially one that's growing as fast as Paycom.
Right. And getting the best people in this market isn't cheap.
Not at all.
Then there's sales and marketing.
Oh, yeah, they're really going after new clients. And that requires a lot of investment.
Their national ad campaigns, those aren't small potatoes.
No, they're not.
They're spending a pretty penny to get their name out there.
And they actually say in their 10K that brand building, like, that doesn't always mean immediate revenue.
It's a long-term play.
Exactly.
They're hoping those marketing dollars pay off down the line.
That's the strategy.
Okay, so sales and marketing, big expense.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Research and development is another big one.
R&D, of course.
They have to constantly be innovating, improving their software.
Yeah, to stay competitive and meet the changing needs of their clients.
If you're not moving forward in tech, you're falling behind.
Exactly.
But they've been strategic about managing those R&D costs.
Oh, how so?
They've put their main development centers in Oklahoma and Texas.
I'm guessing that's a cost-saving measure?
You got it.
Lower cost of living, potentially lower salaries, things like that.
Yep.
It lets them invest in R&D without breaking the bank.
Smart move.
It is.
And then, of course, there are the general and administrative expenses.
The normal costs of doing business.
Yeah, things like rent, utilities, office supplies.
All the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Right.
Now, you mentioned this before, and I'm still a little fuzzy on it.
What's that?
How Paycom sees employee usage as a cost.
Ah.
Can you unpack that a little bit?
Sure. Think about it this way.
Okay.
If their software is hard to use, employees are going to need a lot more support.
From Paycom's customer service team, more
Yeah.
questions, more problems, more training.
Exactly.
So the easier the system is to use, the less support Paycom has to provide.
And that means lower costs for them.
I'm starting to get it now.
It's all about reducing the administrative burden.
For both Paycom and their clients.
Exactly. A win-win.
It's a pretty clever approach.
Yeah,
They're really focused on efficiency and making things easy for everyone involved.
that's the goal.
All right, so we've covered the income, the costs, this focus on user-driven efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the heart of what they offer? What's Paycom's secret sauce? What makes them attractive to customers in this competitive market?
It comes down to their value proposition, which boils down to four main things.
Fair things, okay?
Comprehensiveness, user-friendliness,
Mm-hmm.
data-driven insights, and a big focus on employee engagement.
Let's break those down one by one.
Sure.
Starting with comprehensiveness.
Right.
What makes their solution so, well, comprehensive?
It's the fact that they offer a complete set of HCM applications, all within that single database we talked about.
Single database, everything in one place.
Exactly. They cover everything.
From recruiting and onboarding.
To managing payroll, benefits, time and attendance, talent development, performance reviews, you name it.
So it's a one-stop shop for all things HR.
That's the idea.
They'd streamline everything within that single platform.
No need for multiple systems or integrations.
Which I imagine is a huge relief for HR departments.
Absolutely.
Okay, so comprehensiveness, check.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's user-friendliness, which we touched on before,
Right. Their software is designed to be intuitive and easy to use.
for both HR professionals and employees.
Exactly.
So it's not just about checking boxes for HR.
Yep.
It's about creating a good experience for everyone.
A positive experience.
And they've invested in features that let employees do things themselves,
Self-service. Yeah.
access information, manage benefits, request time off, without always having to go through HR.
It empowers employees and gives HR more time to focus on the bigger picture.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about those data-driven insights?
Right. Data's a big deal these days.
Everyone's talking about it.
And for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Data can be incredibly powerful when you use it the right way.
Right.
Paycom knows this. So they've built strong analytics and reporting features into their platform.
So clients can actually get valuable information about their workforce.
Yeah, it's not just about managing HR tasks anymore.
It's about using data to make smarter decisions about talent, compensation, performance, all of that.
They're giving clients the tools to analyze employee data, spot trends, and make choices based on solid information.
And that can lead to better planning, lower costs, better business performance overall.
That's the goal.
That's a pretty powerful value proposition.
Yes.
Okay, last but not least, their focus on employee engagement.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how a user-friendly system can lower costs for Paycom,
Right.
but how does that translate to employee engagement?
Well, it's about creating a system that employees actually want to use.
Okay.
If it's clunky, confusing, or takes forever, people are going to resist it.
Which defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
So they want their system to be engaging and easy to use so employees actually embrace it.
That's the key.
And when that happens,
You see all sorts of benefits.
increased productivity, Fewer errors, happier employees.
It creates a positive cycle.
It does.
And that's a big part of how Paycom stands out.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp of their core value proposition.
Yeah,
But let's talk about the competitive landscape.
right.
How do they stand out in the market with so many other HCM providers?
Well, we've already touched on some of the things that set them apart, but let's dive in a little deeper.
Let's do it.
First, there's that single database architecture.
Single database.
A major advantage over a lot of their competitors who rely on multiple systems and integrations.
Right, we talked about how that eliminates headaches for clients
Mm-hmm.
and helps ensure data integrity, which is crucial for accurate reporting and analysis. The
Exactly.
data is only as good as its accuracy and how accessible it is.
That's the truth.
Okay, what else sets them apart?
Their emphasis on data integrity and real-time analytics is another big one.
Okay.
Clients have access to accurate, up-to-the-minute data.
Which means they can make decisions quickly and confidently.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
They were also early adopters of mobile technology.
Oh, interesting.
Their Manager on the Go app is super popular.
What does it do?
It gives managers and employees access to key functions from anywhere, anytime.
Ah, that's crucial these days.
It is, yeah.
Everyone's on the go. It fits with their focus on user-friendliness and employee engagement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so single database, real-time analytics, mobile-first approach.
Yep.
What else?
Their commitment to information security.
Oh, that's huge.
Absolutely, especially with all the data breaches we've seen.
Companies are rightfully concerned about security.
For sure.
So how is Paycom addressing that?
They've invested heavily in security measures, and they've gotten various ISO certifications.
To show that they meet those strict security standards.
Exactly, giving their clients peace of mind.
Okay, so they're ticking all the
As
boxes.
they are.
Comprehensiveness, user-friendliness, data, mobility, security.
It's a compelling package.
It is, but to make it all work, what are those things Paycom absolutely has to get right operationally?
Their 10K highlights several critical activities, and it's fascinating how interconnected they all are.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, first and foremost, there's software development and innovation.
That's a given for any tech company.
They have to stay ahead of the curve.
If you snooze, you lose.
Exactly.
So what's their approach to software development?
It's interesting. They have a dedicated team, engineers and product managers,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not just them working in isolation.
Oh, interesting.
They work closely with the client relations team to get feedback, understand problems, and make sure they're building features that clients actually need and want.
So they're really listening to their clients
They are, yeah.
and incorporating that feedback into the development process.
Exactly. It's all about building with the end user in mind.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does.
So that ties back to their focus on user experience and employee engagement.
Mm-hmm.
They want their software to be enjoyable to use,
Absolutely.
which brings us to client relationship management.
Keeping those clients happy.
That's the name of the game.
Customer retention is so important, especially in this kind of market.
How do they approach that?
They have a whole team dedicated to client relations.
Okay.
They handle onboarding new clients, providing support, answering questions, basically being the point of contact for anything Paycom related.
So they're building those personal relationships.
Building trust, demonstrating value.
And their single database approach, that helps with this too, right?
It does.
How so?
By getting rid of the need for all those integrations, they can make implementations smoother, reduce those technical hiccups.
The smoother onboarding experience.
It sets the stage for a good, productive relationship.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the client-centric software development, a dedicated team for relationship management, but we can't forget about information security and compliance.
Especially in this day and age.
Data breaches are a constant threat.
And regulations are constantly changing.
And for a company like Paycom, handling sensitive employee data,
Payroll, background checks, all of that,
these are absolutely crucial areas.
non-negotiable.
So how are they handling these challenges?
Their 10K makes it clear they're serious about this. They have a whole department for information security.
Dedicated to monitoring and protecting their systems.
24/7.
So a team of experts focused on security.
That's right.
Are they doing anything else?
They're using a multi-layered approach to security.
Okay.
Different technologies and best practices.
Like what?
They have strict access controls, so only authorized people can get to sensitive information and systems. They've got intrusion detection and prevention systems to stop cyber attacks.
Okay.
And they use data loss prevention sensors to stop sensitive information from leaving their network without permission.
So it sounds like they've got a pretty solid security system.
They do, but security is just one part of it.
Right, they have to stay compliant too.
And compliance is a moving target.
The regulations are always changing.
They are, and Paycom acknowledges that it can be expensive and complicated. But they're not cutting corners. They have compliance experts who keep up with the latest regulations and make sure Paycom is always doing things by the book.
That's good to hear.
It is, because a data breach or a compliance issue could be really damaging.
For sure.
All right, let's talk about another critical area: talent acquisition and retention.
Getting and keeping the best people.
It's tough out there.
It's a real competition for talent.
Especially in tech.
And Paycom is right in the middle of it.
They are, and their 10K talks about how important it is to attract and retain skilled people.
Across all departments.
They need the best developers, engineers, product managers, sales and marketing folks, client relations people, security experts, compliance officers, everyone.
It takes a lot of talented people to make a company like this successful.
It does.
So how are they standing out in the talent market? What are they doing to attract and keep those highly skilled individuals?
They're using a multifaceted approach. First, they offer competitive pay and benefits.
They have to.
They know they need to pay well to get the best people.
Right.
But it's not just about money.
It's also about the work environment.
The culture.
Culture is so important these days.
It is, especially for younger workers who want more than just a paycheck.
They want to feel like they're part of something.
They want to work for a company that values them, supports their growth.
A sense of community.
Exactly.
So Paycom is trying to create a workplace where people feel valued and empowered.
That's the goal.
And what about professional development?
They offer training programs, mentorship, tuition reimbursement.
To help their employees learn and grow.
That benefits everyone.
The employees get new skills, and Paycom gets a more skilled workforce.
It's a smart investment in their most valuable asset, and their people.
Well, it seems like Paycom has a lot going on operationally.
They do.
Software development, client relationships, security, compliance, talent management, all while staying ahead of the competition, keeping their clients happy.
It's impressive.
It really is.
Their operational excellence is a big part of their success.
It's clear they're not just a tech company. They're a people company.
Absolutely.
They know that their employees are the key to everything.
That's a theme throughout their 10K and their overall philosophy.
Well, this deep dive has been fascinating.
It has.
We've covered so much, from their business model to their financials to how they operate.
It's amazing what you can learn from these public documents.
It is.
With a little curiosity and some guidance, anyone can understand these businesses that impact our world.
That's what we're all about here.
Yeah.
Giving our listeners knowledge and insights so they can make informed decisions.
Whether they're investors or just curious individuals.
And if you're interested in learning more about Paycom, check out the show notes for links to their 10K and 10Q filings.
You can dive in yourself and see what you discover.
And remember, there's always something new to learn.
Always.
So keep diving, keep questioning, and keep that thirst for knowledge alive.
That's the key.
Until next time, happy diving.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
All right, we're back.
Last time we really dug into Paycom's business model.
We did.
How they make their money, how they manage costs, and what makes them stand out in the market.
We got a good overview.
Now let's put on our financial analyst hats.
Let's do it.
See if their performance matches the hype.
Let's look at those financial statements.
Yeah, the revenue growth, those profitability margins, all the metrics that tell us how healthy they are financially.
All the juicy details.
Their 10K paints a pretty interesting picture.
Oh.
They have been growing like crazy in recent years.
Okay.
In 2023, their total revenue went over $1.7 billion.
Wow.
That's a 33% increase from the year before.
That's huge. It's not easy to keep growing like that, especially when you're already a big player.
It's not.
So what's driving that kind of performance?
It's a few things.
Okay.
They're getting new clients, they're expanding relationships with existing clients, and they're seeing an increase in the revenue they get per client.
So they're firing on all cylinders.
They are.
What about their financials? What do they look like?
Their 10Qs give us a closer look. Their recurring revenue, remember that's their bread and butter.
The subscription model?
Yeah, that surged by 28% year over year in the first 9 months of 2024.
So that core business is doing really well.
It is.
And they're also benefiting from that interest income, right?
Oh, yeah. Those rising interest rates are helping.
Makes sense.
The more money they hold for clients for payroll, the more interest they make.
It's like a bonus revenue stream.
A nice little tailwind.
But revenue growth is just one part of the story.
Right.
We need to talk about profitability.
True.
Are they actually turning that revenue growth into profit?
They are, and it's impressive.
Okay.
In 2023, their net income was over $388 million.
That's their profit, after all expenses are accounted for, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
That's a 50% increase from the previous year.
So their profits are growing even faster than their revenue.
They are.
That's a good sign, right?
It's a sign of a well-managed and efficient company.
What about their profit margins? What do those look like?
Those tell a good story, too. Their gross profit margin was 83% in 2023.
And that's the percentage of revenue left after deducting the cost of goods sold.
Exactly.
Right.
And their operating margin, which shows how much profit they make from their main operations, was 23%.
So for those of us who aren't financial experts, what do those numbers actually mean?
They mean Paycom is running a tight ship.
Okay.
They're controlling their costs well, pricing their products right, and efficiently turning revenue into profit.
Sounds good so far.
It is.
But let's look at some specific financial metrics.
Right.
The things that investors really focus on.
Okay.
Starting with earnings per share, or EPS.
EPS.
That's a big one, right?
It tells investors how much profit the company is making for each share of stock.
So it's a measure of profitability on a per-share basis.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Paycom's EPS has been climbing steadily.
A good sign.
In 2023, their diluted EPS, which considers things like stock options, was $6.82.
That's a 63% increase from the year before.
It is.
So earnings are growing and they're making more profit per share.
Exactly.
What else should investors be paying attention to?
Their annual revenue retention rate is another important one.
Okay, what's that?
It tells us what percentage of recurring revenue they keep from existing clients each year.
So how much of their business is coming from repeat customers?
Right.
Okay,
And Paycom's retention rate has been around 90%.
which is pretty impressive.
Very impressive, especially in a market with so much competition.
It shows that they're good at keeping their clients happy.
It's a sign of customer satisfaction and product stickiness.
What about their expenses? Anything else we should be looking at there?
It's worth noting their focus on managing operating expenses.
Okay.
In the first 9 months of 2024, their total operating expenses increased by 17% year over year.
Okay.
But that was mainly because of higher personnel costs.
To support their growth.
Exactly. They need more people as they expand.
Makes sense.
And they've managed to keep their sales and marketing expenses relatively stable as a percentage of revenue.
So they're being strategic with their spend.
They are, and they're benefiting from those lower cost locations for their R&D teams.
Smart moves all around.
So far, their financials look really solid.
They're growing, making good profits, and managing their expenses well.
But are there any red flags?
That's what I was going to ask.
Well, no investment is without risk.
True.
Paycom acknowledges this in their 10K.
Okay.
They point out that a bad economy could impact their clients' willingness to spend money on HCM solutions.
So a recession could hurt their business,
A recession could lead to budget cuts, yeah.
and that could affect Paycom's revenue and profitability.
It could.
So even the best companies can be affected by things they can't control.
Exactly.
What about competition? Is that a concern?
Always.
The HCM market is pretty crowded,
It is, and new companies are popping up all the time.
so they can't just sit back and relax
No, they have to stay ahead of the game, keep innovating.
to keep their competitive edge.
Right.
But overall, it sounds like they're in a good position.
Yeah, their financial performance is strong, and they seem to be well managed and strategic.
Now, something else caught my eye. In their 10K, they have no outstanding debt.
That's right, they paid off their revolving credit facility in November 2023.
Interesting. Why is that significant?
Well, being debt-free is usually a sign of financial strength.
Okay.
It means they don't have those interest payments eating into their profits.
So they have more flexibility.
Exactly. They can reinvest their profits, go after acquisitions, or even give money back to shareholders through dividends or stock buybacks.
It gives them a lot of options.
It does.
Now, I know we're talking financials, but something else caught my eye in their 10Q filings.
What's that?
They're doing some interesting things with stock-based compensation.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Stock-based compensation is a big tool for companies to attract and keep employees.
It's a way to align employee interests with shareholder interests.
Can you break it down a bit? What exactly are they doing?
Sure. Paycom mostly uses restricted stock awards and performance-based restricted stock units, or PSUs, to incentivize their employees.
Hold on. What's the difference between those two?
So Time-based restricted stock awards usually vest over a set period, like 4 years, as long as the employee stays with the company. Market-based restricted stock awards have vesting tied to the company's stock price.
So they might vest when the stock hits a certain price.
Exactly, or if the company's stock does better than a specific benchmark.
So with market-based awards, employees are rewarded for helping the company's stock price go up.
Exactly.
And then there are those PSUs, the performance-based awards.
Right. Those are linked to specific company goals, like hitting revenue targets or profitability milestones.
So Paycom is using a mix of these to motivate their workforce.
They are.
But what's the thinking behind that? Why do it this way?
It's about aligning incentives.
Okay.
By giving stock awards, they're turning employees into investors.
Giving them a stake in the company's success.
Exactly. This encourages employees to think like owners
To make decisions that benefit the whole company.
and to work towards those performance targets.
It's a win-win.
It is,
If the company does well, everyone benefits.
including the employees who hold stock.
And how are they using these awards strategically?
Well, their 10Q shows that in February 2024, they gave a bunch of restricted stock awards to their new co-CEO, Chris G. Thomas.
Okay.
These awards have a mix of time-based and market-based vesting conditions.
So they're tying his compensation to the company's future performance.
It's a way to show they believe in him.
And to give him a strong incentive to grow the company.
And to create value for shareholders.
It's like a performance-based contract.
Exactly.
He's rewarded if the company does well.
And his compensation could be affected if the company doesn't do well.
It's a smart move.
It is.
It aligns everyone's interests.
That's the goal.
This deep dive into their financials has been really interesting.
It has.
We've seen how much they're growing, how profitable they are, how they manage their expenses, and how they use stock-based compensation.
It's a company that's doing a lot of things right.
But we've only looked at the financial side.
Sure.
To really understand Paycom, we need to look at their operations.
The things that make the company tick.
Join us for Part 3, where we'll delve into those critical activities that drive Paycom's success.
We'll look at software development, client relationships, information security, and talent acquisition.
We'll uncover the secrets behind their operational excellence. Welcome back for the final part of our Paycom deep dive.
We're in the home stretch.
We've covered their business model, we broke down those financials, we even got into some of the details of their stock-based compensation.
Some interesting stuff there.
Now it's time to focus on what really makes this company tick.
The engine room.
Those critical operational activities.
The nuts and bolts.
Exactly.
Their 10K highlights some key areas.
Okay.
And I'm excited to unpack them, see how it all fits together.
Me too.
Let's start with software development and innovation.
The heart of any tech company.
Absolutely.
In an industry like this, you got to stay ahead of the game.
Innovate or become obsolete, right?
That's the truth.
Paycom gets it. They've made a commitment to investing in R&D, research and development.
Okay.
And their 10K talks about their strong R&D pipeline.
So they're not resting on their laurels.
Not at all.
They're constantly working on new applications, improving existing ones,
Making sure their software is user-friendly.
and anticipating what clients will need in the future.
Exactly.
But it's more than just spending money on R&D.
Right.
What's their approach? How do they make sure they're building the right things?
Well, they have a dedicated team of software engineers and product managers.
Okay.
But they don't just work in a vacuum.
Oh,
They work hand in hand with the client relations team to
interesting.
get feedback, understand what clients are struggling with,
Makes sense.
and make sure they're developing features that clients actually want and need.
So they're building with the user in mind,
Exactly, a client-centric approach to development.
which ties back to their focus on user experience and employee engagement. They want their software to be easy to use, intuitive, even enjoyable.
Absolutely.
A happy user is a loyal user.
For sure.
Which brings us to another key area, client relationship management.
Keeping those clients happy and coming back for more.
Exactly.
Customer retention is huge in a business like this.
Especially with so much competition.
So how does Paycom handle client relationships?
I'm curious.
They've got a team of client relations representatives.
Okay.
They're on the front lines, handling onboarding, providing support,
Answering questions, resolving issues.
being the go-to for anything Paycom related,
They're building those personal connections.
building trust, showing their value.
And that single database approach, that plays a role here too, right?
It does.
How so?
No need for complex integrations. Paycom can streamline implementation, reduce those technical glitches.
So clients can get up and running quickly and easily.
Exactly. A much smoother experience.
It sets the stage for a positive relationship right from the start.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got the client-centric software development, the dedicated client relations team. But we can't forget about information security and compliance.
Huge in today's world.
Data breaches are everywhere.
And the rules are always changing.
For a company like Paycom, handling sensitive employee information.
Payroll, background checks.
These are critical areas.
No room for error.
So how are they addressing these challenges?
Their 10K makes it clear they're taking this seriously.
Okay.
They have a whole department dedicated to information security,
Really?
monitoring and protecting their systems 24/7.
A team of experts focused solely on security.
That's right.
What else are they doing?
They use a multi-layered approach to security.
Okay.
Different technologies, best practices.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure, they have strict access controls.
Okay.
So only authorized personnel can get to sensitive data.
Makes sense.
They have systems to detect and prevent cyber attacks. And they use data loss prevention sensors to stop sensitive information from leaving their network without permission.
So it sounds like they've got a pretty robust security system in place.
They do.
But security is just one piece,
Right. They have to stay compliant, too.
which is an ongoing process.
Always evolving.
Paycom knows it can be expensive and complicated, but they're not cutting corners,
Nope. They have compliance experts who stay up to date on the latest regulations.
making sure everything's done by the book.
Exactly.
It's good to know they're taking this seriously.
It's crucial.
A data breach or a compliance violation could be devastating.
Absolutely.
All right, let's shift gears to another key area: talent acquisition and retention.
Finding and keeping the best people.
It's a real challenge these days,
The war for talent.
especially in tech.
And Paycom is right in the middle of it.
They need top talent across all departments.
Developers, engineers, product managers, sales and marketing folks, client relations, security, compliance, the list goes on.
It takes a lot of talented people to make a company like this work.
It does.
So how are they attracting and retaining those highly skilled individuals?
They're doing a few things.
Okay.
Competitive pay and benefits are a must.
How to stay competitive.
But it's not just about the money.
Yeah.
They're focused on creating a positive work environment.
The culture.
Exactly. Especially for younger generations who want more than just a paycheck.
They want to feel valued, like they're part of something.
They want opportunities for growth and development.
So Paycom is investing in creating a great place to work.
They are.
What about professional development? Are they doing anything there?
They offer training programs, mentorship, tuition reimbursement.
To help their employees learn and grow.
Exactly. It benefits everyone.
Employees get new skills. Paycom gets a more skilled workforce.
It's a smart investment.
It is.
Investing in their people.
It sounds like Paycom has a lot going on operationally.
They do.
Software development, client relationships, security, compliance, talent management.
All while staying ahead of the competition and meeting their clients' needs.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is, and they're doing it well.
Their operational excellence is a big part of their success.
It's what sets them apart.
It's clear that they're not just a tech company, they're a people company.
Absolutely.
They understand that their people are the key to everything.
That's at the heart of their philosophy.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
We've learned so much about Paycom.
From their business model to their financials to how they operate.
It's amazing what you can learn from these public documents.
It's all out there if you know where to look.
And with a little curiosity and some expert guidance.
Anyone can understand these businesses that shape our world.
That's what we're all about here at the Deep Dive.
Empowering our listeners with knowledge and insights.
So they can make informed decisions, whether they're investors or just curious individuals.
If you want to learn even more about Paycom, check out the show notes for links to their 10K and 10Q filings.
You can do your own deep dive and see what you discover.
There's always something new to learn.
So keep diving, keep questioning, and keep that thirst for knowledge alive.
That's the spirit.
Until next time, happy diving.